Hey guys, it's Alan from the Styrene Air Force again, welcoming you back to yet again another video. This will be part 3 in the video series on the f-4C Phantom. On this episode we're going to look at the landing gear and tires and that sort of stuff. And we're going to actually do a little bit different this time. It's not just going to be totally about painting the parts. We're actually going to do some upgrades on that. So we have all the parts right here, and as you can see over there, I got my laptop going with my reference on the photo as to what we're going to try to replicate. Again, Google, great place to look for stuff. Just type in what you want to look for, hit search, go to images, and look through everything that you possibly can. Just note, sometimes when you do click on an image, it brings up a couple others, maybe 7 or 8 other images that you could take a look at. Look at everything, because you're going to find in a lot of cases you get different angles and you're going to see different things as things vary from model to model. I mean model to model in the sense of the actual aircraft. So things might be different on one, it might be different on another, maybe because of where it's being stationed, whether it's a naval use, whether it's, Air Force or whatever. So make sure you look at as many references as possible so that you can get, a lot of your details done as best as possible, to get yourself more towards that realistic look, which is another thing that I wanted to bring up here. When we're talking about scale models, a lot of people like to talk about, oh, that doesn't look realistic, oh, that looks real. Let's just cut to the chase. There is really no way you're going to get a scale model to look 100% real. When you see a lot of these pictures of models online and in magazines and all of that, and go, oh man, that looks so real. Painting and finishing the model is only a small percentage of it. The rest of it that gets it to that really real looking type effect, yes, the paint work goes a long way, but it's really the staging, the lighting, the photographing, and the humongous amount of editing that goes into the after picture. So with scale modeling, I don't like to say you're trying to get a realistic look. I'm thinking you're getting more of an interesting look, something better to look at, something more than just carte blanche to look at the basic model. You're trying to make it look more plausible, because I've looked at hundreds and thousands of pictures online about other people's models, and maybe 10% of them actually had me fooled into thinking it was something real. And even then, when I thought it was something real, it was staged, outdoors, on a this, super info, Photoshop to the ass, all of that. So try to focus more on getting your details right, getting your look right, get your finish right, make it more interesting, have each piece tell a story, and try to get as much accuracy into it as possible. If you can't get all the accuracy into it as possible, at least make it look interesting. So, with all that being said, we're going to get into this, and then we're going to get started on updating these things, particularly these 3 parts here, which are going to be the actual struts. We're going to get some hydraulics put on it, and, well, not hydraulics, lines and all of that put on it, just to kind of beef up the look of it so it makes it, as I said, much more interesting to look at. So, we're going to go from there in just a minute. Okay, so one of the first things we're going to do here is we're going to set basically what would represent brackets to hold the hydraulic lines in. So first thing I'm going to use is, let's get rid of some of this, it's just a small piece of insulation off of wiring. And we're just going to just cut a small piece of that off. With just a little top of super glue, we're just going to put a little dab right there just to hold it in place, just so you can see it. And we'll just pick the piece up. Come on, pick up. and then we'll just attach it in place here within the super glue. And there, that's one. And then we're going to do a second one a little further down as well. So, same process. There we go. A little bit more super glue here. And we'll just pop it right about there. And we'll just glue that in place, just like that. So pretty much what you got there is the brackets to hold it in. So what I'm going to do here is just to kind of help that out, just apply a little of the kicker there so that it cures faster, just for the purpose of this video. So that's going to be your two brackets holding in your main part of your brake line. Then we're going to go with, is just go with some wire. Just right here, no, I just got some steel wire. I keep a lot of scrap wire about the place just for this sort of stuff. And what you want to do is feed it down through let's get a tweezer here, and then just feed it down through there you go. Now what I did with this one is I already pre-drilled some holes for it, so we're just going to get that. Get a little super glue on that piece there. Oh, that's a bit much, but it's okay. And we're just going to squeeze that in there and get that in. If you want again, you can just use a little of the kicker, cure that up right away. So there you go. Just give it a little tug. You want to make sure. Yes, no, this is based on some of the references that I found. So we got that. So I don't know if you can how well you can see that, but there's one piece in there. And then you can just cut that off. Yes, my cat seems to have something he wants to discuss. I don't know what it is. Now we're going to put in for a secondary line, just to give some more, because it seems to be 2 or 3 lines on it. Again, you can just feed it down through the same line, because it is a piece from something for a thicker piece of wire. However, getting the second one in might be a little tougher than getting the first one in, because now you got less room to squeeze it into. Tweezers are always a nice help. And there we go, the other one out the end. Get a little bit of super glue on that again. Again, I have another hole screwed in up top, pre-drilled up here. I'm just going to take that, tuck that in there. Can hit that with a little kicker here again. Get that fully set. And then I can just gently manipulate it how I want it. And pull the excess back up through. And there you go. Cut off the extra. And then what you've got is a couple of brake lines on there, just like that. You know, you can manipulate these however you want, get them nicer and flat. And that's basically it. So for this one, that's pretty much done. And what you want to try to do is get it cut off, preferably as close to the contact part as possible. As soon as I can find my nice quickie scissors, we could just fold these out. No, bearing in mind that when you cut these off, these are all going to be up in the wheel well, so you probably won't even see those. And that would be it. So that's the first one pretty much done. Like I said, it's not a whole lot. Gives it a little bit of an improvement. Once this gets primed and painted, it'll certainly look the part. Guaranteed. Okay, so now that we've got the nose gear done, we're going to go to the other two gears. So as you can see, I've already done off camera. I've taken some slightly smaller insulation wire. I chose red here just so that it would be, you know, pretty visible, so that you guys could see exactly what I'm going for here. And the cable is going to come down from here through their loop around and then go into that one as if it were going into, I guess you could call it the caliper for the wheel. For the other red stuff, for those of you who are asking, yeah, that's a bit of a filler that I used to fill some injection pin holes. There's a lot of different things you can get. One of the main ones I use is a Bondo glazing spot putty. This one actually is pretty good. It goes on, dries very quickly, sands very nicely, and is good for small scratches, you know, filling surface holes and stuff like that. I wouldn't use something like this to fill a wide gap or anything wider, too wide that if you can get a whole knife blade or a toothpick into. It's not really great for that. Another one that I use is the Sikkens Combi Putty. I like this one only because of the color. It's a little harder than the Bondo glazing putty in the red. But what I like about this is the color. Like I said, when it's dry, it's a very neutrally color, and it sands just as easy, it dries just as quick, and it's great for if you're going to be doing something that you don't want to have any possibility of bleed through. So you know, if you don't clean up your surfaces well, if you use this under white or yellow or stuff, it's a great neutral color. Another one that I've got, and I've almost never used it, is Squadron Fast Drying Green Putty. I'm not very particularly fond of the scale modeling line of fillers, only because I find that they shrink, they crack, they don't do as great a job as I would like. And the last time I bought one, I don't know why I bought another one. I bought one of the Tamiya ones, and I opened it up, used it twice, went back to use it about 2-3 weeks later, and the entire tube had dried. So I've had this one here, the Combi one, going on maybe 7-8 years. You can see it's still got a lot. I even used this in a vinyl and leather repair, plastic repair business I did for about 12 years. I've been using that. And this tube I've had maybe another 4 or 5 years, and you can see it's still very pliable. Anyways, enough of that. So we're going to get to dealing with these landing gear. So again, we're just going to use a piece of scrap wire. We want it to come through here to come out down the side. So what I'm going to do is fish this through here. Whoops. Yeah, let's take this end off. That's kind of waved on me a little bit. And we're just going to feed it. Yes, I tremble, so don't worry about it. I get a little nervous problem at times. Get a little bit of the super glue on the end of that. And my tweezer, if I can find it. Just squeeze it into the other one here. Like that. So we'll let that dry for a little bit, and we'll do the same with the other one. just so you can see. Feed that through. Give a little kink in it so it won't fall back out. A little dab of super glue on the end to hold it in. There you go. We're just going to let that set for a bit. Or, like I said, if you've got it, might as well use it. For purpose of speed, we'll just hit each one of these with a little bit of a kicker. There you go. And then what you want to do with this one here is kind of conform it to follow along this thing here. So you're going to kind of follow it so it falls along that line a little bit. Let's get it nice and flat. That way it won't interfere with the doors and the wheels when you put them on. And then this one here just folds right up. Put a little curve into it there. And I probably should have put a third one up there, which I just might do, so I'll just cut that off there. I just gotta find, here's another thin one in a block. Oh, that's not it. Oh, here's another quickie piece in yellow. We'll just knock a little piece off there. And super glue here. That way at least I have somewhere to anchor that. So before I put that in, get the tweezer on it. There, just get a little bit of super glue on here where we want to mount it, and just lay that here. Just like that, and then we can hit that with some of the kicker, get that to cure up. And there you go. Simple hydraulic line on the part, right through. In some places, in some kits, you can actually do more than one. I'm not going to go above and beyond with this. I just going to do that one little one there. And then that's it. I'm going to go over and finish up the other one, and then we'll come back and we'll start to get these pieces primed. Okay, so let's get a coat of primer on all of this stuff. For this one, instead of using the black, I've decided to go with the gray primer. Yeah, I got the bottle a little messed up. Only because I'm putting white over it, and I don't want to have to sit down here and spend I mean, I'm sure it'll cover it quite well. I mean, I've used white over black a lot of times, and it went on really well, covered it really nice. But I'm just going to go with this just to try one of the other primers, mostly. So, I'm going to get a coat of primer on this. Little light misting coat first. Go. There we go. Let's get all these wheels going. There we go. Let's get the other little wheel here. Alright, and we're going to go back. No, and actually put a proper coat on these things. Yep, seems to be all the primer. Let's get some more. I should get a piece of paper down on this so I'm not making a mess of my cutting pad. Just because it's a work surface doesn't mean I have to make it look like a work surface. And turn some of this air pressure up a little bit. Not getting enough atomization. There we go, a little better. Okay. Last wheel, here we go. Don't run out, last piece, I don't want to have to mix anymore. Okay, and there we go. So we're going to leave all of that to cure up a bit, and then we'll come back and get some colors on these. And now for a coat of white. come back over it with a finishing coat. Yeah, we're going to need a little bit more. One, two. Let's get one drop of the urethane, one drop of thinner. Whoops, or two. Mix that all up. There we go. Maybe just to get back some of the thick, I'll put another drop of white in there. And there you go. Help dry it up with a blast shot of some air. Don't worry about the tire again there, we're going to address all of that afterwards. Oh, got too heavy with a puddling there. And that's that. Just make sure all those get a final coat. And that's it. So we got all the struts done there. There. Over there. Wheels. And then everything else. Okay, so we'll leave that to dry and cure up for a little bit. And then we'll get them all masked off. And we'll start on the tires. Okay, so the next thing we're going to work on is getting all the wheels masked up. So, way I like to do this, there's several different ways you can mask up wheels and stuff like that. But what I like to do is, got one of these templates. So what I do is, I just find a hole that corresponds to the size of what I do. Okay, so that one's just a little too small. And that one seems to fit just perfect. So I've done all the other ones. This is just one I'm doing for demonstration purposes. So I'll just lay a piece of tape out, put the section that I want to make a mask from, and then just cut around. Pop it up. There's a mask. No, it's not exactly an absolute perfect solution, but you get something that gives you a lot less to clean up. And there's one. And then you also want to mask off the back. So it's going to be the same size. Number 2. And that's Tamiya tape I'm just using, because Tamiya tape's nice. It conforms really well to surfaces. And there's number 2. Now I want to get the the toothpick back in there, so I'm gonna just cut the back of this a little bit, grade it all out. And there we go, all masked, ready to go. Now before I get into painting that, I just want to bring up one thing here. I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do, and I actually did this off camera, which is to do all of the piston sleeves for these hydraulic parts. And when I first got this set and I started to do this Phantom, I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to use the chrome on. Now, I've never done chrome with an acrylic paint before, so I kind of goofed around with this and figured, well, if it didn't quite work out, I'd just brush paint it or whatever. I mean, like, this one here was brushed with Testors, Model Master, Enamel Chrome Silver. Came out pretty nice. But this would be the Mission Models Chrome, which actually came out really, really nice. So what I did was, and I didn't demonstrate that on camera, so I figured, well, you guys see it. So what I did was, took this old leftover part from an old Spitfire model, and put down the gloss black base. Now you can see it went down kind of nice and smooth, very even, very clean. So a couple of little sanding scratches in there, but no big deal. So, just to give you an idea of how well this acrylic chrome actually works, because I mean, I'm usually an Alclad user to do my chrome, and this actually came out really nice. I'm very, very surprised. So, here we go. Add a light coat first. Now, if you want to get a nice dark chrome, you could stop there. And the thing is, this paint, the longer it sits till it starts to dry, actually looks better and better each time. You can go over it a little bit more. You want to get, a lighter chrome color. There you go. You can go with your final coat to get a nice layer in. But it's going to look a little orange peel there for a bit, but there you go. That's your chrome right there. So I'm going to put this aside for a second, let that cure up some more, and then you can see how it gets better as it dries. So in the meantime, I'm going to go get everything set up so we can start doing those tires. Okay, so now I've got my black loaded up, just plain black. Just going to check the flow. There we go. And sure it's spraying there. Alright, so we're just going to paint the whole rim. Light coat first. And And then we're going to go back over that, and it'll actually cover these things properly. Whoops. Now, normally you could use another completely different color for this. Which I usually do is Tamiya Rubber Black XF85. It's a nice, more of a dark, really dark gray color. This is excellent for doing tires. I actually might just blow a mist of this over this afterwards. Only because I much prefer this color to just using flat black. But for the demonstration purpose of this, I'm actually going to just leave that the way it is, and I'm going to do something a little different with the way I weather tires for this, only because I want to continue using the mission model stuff versus using anything else. So, I'm just going to let those cure up a little bit, and then we're going to go in and start dealing with the actual tread. Okay? Okay. Now that we've given that some time to dry and set up, the next part is to get the tread part done. So we're going to sort of begin the weathering process on the tires. So pretty much it's just going to be get the tire pretty much perpendicular to the airbrush. And what I've got in here right now is the tire black color from so it's kind of like a pale black with a bit of brown in it. So you can pretty much see the color there. So that's kind of the color you get. And then we're just going to go perpendicular to the thing and just go lightly over it like that. So we're going to leave that a little bit to set up. And then we'll get to this side here. That, and we'll just get that initial light coat done first. So we're really only painting the contact surface. What you can do is come in a little bit closer this time now and just make sure you're getting it just on the surface there. So what you've got is a little bit of a you got it pretty much just in the contact surface there, and the sides are still pretty much black. And pretty much, there you go. And all the front tires will get the same treatment. And then we'll just leave that to set a little bit. See how that looks. There we go. That looks fine to me. And then we'll just leave that a little bit. If you want to get it a little bit, to show a little bit more age on the tire, you can go in and give it another blast if you want. You can make it as much color on it as you want, or as little. Right now I got it a little thin down more than normal because I just wanted it to be kind of subtle. And then we'll leave that to set up, and then we'll get to the next part of weathering the tire. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is start to get into further weathering the wheels with enamel products. So right here, what you see here now is one I've already done using MIG Products Dust. So it's just a little bit there. We're just going to clean that up a bit. That just still needs some more work on it, and then we're going to go from there. So I'm going to show you exactly how I did that one. So the product that we used here is MIG Effects Dust, light dust. And what we do is we just get a little bit here on the brush. Let me get my visors on because I can't see for shit. And we're just going to use a very small brush, and then we're just going to add it, just letting it go around the wheel. Almost like you're doing a pin wash, and then just have it sit in there, and then do the same with the back. You just want to get a little bit of the product right up against the rim, and then we're just going to leave that to dry a little bit. In the meantime, what we can do is we look at that chrome piece that I did earlier. Now that it's fully dried, fully cured, you can see what it is. Now this isn't really bad for an acrylic. Actually, it's pretty good for an acrylic paint to do that type of chrome finish. So I'm still, honestly, still prefer to do my enamels. So I'm still kind of about using the alkalids, but this really is not a bad end result for an acrylic color. So we're going to let that enamel product dry for a little bit, and then we're going to work on blending that in. Okay, so we're giving this some time to set. Though I should point out one thing. This is not my own process. This is actually one I learned from somebody. Shuichi Hayashi, I believe his name is. Hope I pronounced it correctly. He's the first person I saw do this, and I've always wanted to try it. And I actually like the results. So we'll just get the brush, the flat edge brush, in a little bit of mineral spirits, and you're just going to go in and touch it and then pull it outwards towards the wheel. What you're going to get is this radial pattern. And I'm wearing gloves because this stuff tends to fingerprint very easily. And you're just going to keep going round and round until you've worked all the product more or less away from the rim. Don't worry about what you're doing with it when it gets to the edge. You just work in the front of the wheel here right now. You're just going to work it out like that, just in an outward motion. Keep going out and just keep picking up some more to get it away from there. Like that. Just keep doing it. Like he says. Keep working it outwards. Get rid of the excess. Just keep the motion going out. What you're going to get is this radial type dust pattern that's going to come off the wheel, as if, you know, the wheel is spinning and it's just getting dust off. So you're going to get that happening there. And then you're going to basically do the same to the inside of the wheel, because inside the wheel here gets dirty. You know, you're going to see it on this one. You're going to see just past the bay doors. So you're just going to do basically the same thing with this. Just work it out to the edge. Just keep working to the outside. Actually, it also might help putting it on a toothpick as soon as I can find a spare one. I'll just use this one here. Let's get the other wheel here. And it's just easier to do this. You just gotta keep pulling it. Takes a little while, but you get there. Need to rehydrate the brush, just clean it out. Just keep going. You want to get as much of it off the actual hub as possible and get it all blended out. Make sure that's on a little tight. And then you just blend. And then you got the outside. Now where wearing the gloves comes in, let's get this all into there. Now, what you want to do is get rid of the excess on the tread section here. So, great thing again, like I said about these enamel products, they just pretty much wipe right the hell off. Just want to clean off all that excess right off of here, because you don't need that. You already sprayed the wheel tread. And then the last part of this that I want to do is it's just right at the highest part on the circumference of this. You just want to wipe it like that. Then you're just going to rub it back down to the block. And that is essentially that. And what you've got there is a weathered tire. Now don't worry if it don't look exactly the same as the other one. Tires don't wear evenly, they don't wear exactly the same, they don't always have to look the same either. So if you want, you can come back onto this and you can just drag that some more, get some more of it off here. You know, just brush off the edge there just to get a bit of the effect of, you know, the fact that the outside of the tire is going to be rubbing against stuff and it's going to be a little bit cleaner, just like on a very thin strip along the outside. And that's the end of that. You can pretty much do the same thing even with the small front tires. You might want to use a brush that's a little smaller for that. Got this Tamiya modeling brush. I bought this one a few years ago. I'm surprised at it because with it having a brand name of Tamiya, I actually expected something better. actually didn't do anything on the middle, the inside part of the wheel, only because they're going to be so close together on the front axle, you practically won't see it. So same deal here, just keep washing it out. Wiping it out towards the outside. And you gotta also remember some of this is going to get a little accentuated when we do the actual wash on it. And then that's it. So that's all the wheels done. We're going to let this set a little bit, and then we're going to get a gloss coat on this, and we'll do the final part of the weathering on this, and then we'll have all of this completed, and then we'll move on to the next stage. Okay, so we got all of the washes done on this. It's pretty much done. Just got to get a little bit more cleanup on certain spots. And did it also with the landing struts. So the only thing we need to get on this right now is a coat of flat. So I'm going to get that done, blow that on, and then come right back. And now we've got the flat coat known. So that basically completes the wheels, all the struts, and the little actuators for the struts. So after this, now we're going to go from here, and then we're going to get into the drop tanks and stuff, and any of the ordnance that's going to go on to stores. So stay tuned for that, and that'll be the next video. So thanks for joining, thanks for watching, and hope you enjoy.
Send down the TODs